Welcome to Hey Clarity. I'm your host, Lindsay, and today we are indulging in the segment Three Realms, the Akashic Records versus Artificial Intelligence. The topic that we're going to ask questions on is humanity. So thank you to everyone who voted in the poll. I think humanity is a very important topic to get some insight on. So the way that we do this is I open the Akashic Records on the topic of humanity, and then I have Chat GPT right in front of me, ready to answer questions. And we're gonna compare notes and see how these questions are answered from both sources of information. So the questions that we're gonna ask are, what's the vibe check on humanity today? How are we doing? What have been humanity's greatest contributions to the world at large? What have been humanity's greatest failures? In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its best? We're going to be optimistic. And then at its worst. And then the last will be advice for humanity, which I will be so curious to see advice for humanity from artificial intelligence. Okay, so I said the opening prayer and opened the records on humanity prior to hitting record. So we're already in the Akashic Records of humanity. So first question, what's the vibe check on humanity today? How are we doing? They're saying downfalling. They're showing almost like these like floods of people kind of like running off a cliff. Like running off a cliff, I'm getting like mass populations like in mass. For some of us, that downfalling is a leap of faith. For some of us, we are jumping or diving into things. We are trusting and surrendering the unknown from the perspective of taking a leap of faith, hoping for the best, planning and strategizing for the best case scenario. And some people, the falling is breakdowns and breakthroughs. Anything else? What's the vibe check on humanity today? How are we doing? Downfalling again. But what I'm seeing is that some of us in these mass populations are running down, and then we'll be running back up like another hill. It's almost like running down a hill and it looks like we're disappearing, and then we come back up another hill. Is there another way to describe this? They're just like, it's a downfall. It's a downfall. But it's not like a permanent down. There's a coming back up. There's a coming back up. But we're on our way down from something. Okay. ChatGPT. I'm going to use the same words. What's the vibe check on humanity today? How are we doing? Oh, they said, oof. Sorry, I'm going to make this silent. That's so funny. That's really freaking funny. They said, oof, the vibe check on humanity today is complicated. Here's a snapshot. Like globally, it's a mixed bag. Climate crisis, still very real. Some progress on renewables, but fossil fuels haven't packed it up. Global temperatures are breaking records and ecosystems are on edge. Wars and conflicts, ongoing. Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, humanitarian crises persist. The world feels tense with a lot of geopolitical fragmentation. AI and tech, booming. Productivity is up, but so are concerns about job displacement, misinformation, and existential risk. We're racing forward with one eye closed. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Saw that, saw that. Mental health, better awareness, but rising struggles, especially among younger people. Loneliness, burnout, and anxiety are rampant. Inequality, still massive. Billionaires are space hopping while many can't afford rent. Structural imbalances persist across nations. Activism in youth, passionate and informed. There's a strong current of resistance, solidarity, and vision for change, even when hope feels thin. Vibe summary. Humanity's self-awareness is growing, but so is its existential dread. We're innovating like never before, but struggling to wield that power responsibly. Kindness and resilience exist, often in the quiet, small corners, mutual aid groups, community organizing, art, and care. So not apocalyptic, but not chill either. We're in a transitional high-stakes era. Call it the midnight hour before the dawn or the next power outage. Okay, that was great. That was great. Okay. What have been humanity's greatest contributions to the world at large? I mean, they're just like the building of your civilizations, and they're just showing like cities from the ground up, like building these structures that they're like run the world to make the world go round. They're saying like money, economic, trade, global, world economy, like far reaching, like our global reach is like the farthest it has ever been, farthest it ever could be in our like wildest imagination, like hundreds of years ago. What have been humanity's greatest contributions? They're saying health, like medical and like medicine. We've had like very profound, beautiful advancements for the survival of the species, right? We're living longer. We have longer lifespans because of that. They're saying health, wealth, building. The creativity, the innovation. They're talking about like our love and our bonds and our connection, our emotional intelligence and our empathy and compassion for each other. They're like surprisingly, like you might not believe this, but we're way more humane than we've been. They're like in a long time. Like a long time ago, we were highly barbaric and horrible to each other. They're like animals, like they're saying like you've come a long way from that, like more in touch with the intended nature of the human species. So we are more in touch with our love and compassion. They're saying like villages, community, tribe, like we're more like connected in our emotional human nature than we ever have been. And they're saying like that might come as a surprise to you because you see so much chaos and turmoil and like inhumanely, treated people all over, wars and violence and resources not like finding their way, to the corners of the world that need them the most. Like these things are horrible, and there's a lot of desperation, but that we've still come a long way. Anything else? What have been humanity's greatest contributions to the world at large? This network, like they're showing a globe at night, all lit up, modern technology, networking connections, like the fact that we can do this in an instant, the fact that we can share information, we can see each other, we can hear each other, we can talk from anywhere in the world, we connect instantly. Okay. They just said medicines again. They're talking about how far we've come in our ability to live a long time because of our our knowledge around, our academic knowledge and our studies around health and medicine. What have been humanity's greatest failures? Oh, they said apathy. Why don't you care? Why isn't it your business? They're like apathetic. Being apathetic is a failure. Because they're like, on this planet, like we're all in this world together. Like we're all part of our world. We're all a part of it. And when we don't care, we really let down the people around us. They're saying, we're not saying care to your detriment. We're not saying care where you work yourself to death or you work yourself into sickness or illness. They're saying that to totally like, to be isolated and box yourself off from our neighbors, right? Like immediate environment, like nearby, like, you know, what's familiar, what's in front of you. Like, they're like, you can care about the things happening all over the world. Absolutely, please do. But it's what you can control is what's in front of you, what's around you, what's in your immediate environment, what's in your neighborhood. And they're saying to be apathetic is, they're saying like pointless, like it makes being a human being pointless, because we are built to care. We have these emotional systems on purpose. It is part of our purpose to be emotional, to feel, to digest, to release, to express, to integrate. Like we are these emotional systems. And they're like, your sensory being is picking up on the vibe check of your immediate environment and the world in the area. And so when you close off or dissociate, don't care, or like shut down to like what's happening like around you in your immediate environment, they're like, your mission has failed. Like you missed the call. It is of utmost importance to put immediate value on what's happening in front of you, in front of your face, right? The people, your friends, your family, your neighbors, kindness, compassion, that love, that loving nature. They're even saying your love of nature, right? For example, they're like, sometimes we see symbolically, but they're saying like symbolically, literally. Let's say you are somewhere and you see like there's a small fire. And instead of like, that's small enough, I can put that out right now. I can put that out by myself right now. They're showing somebody walking away. Like, that's not my problem. But it was manageable when you first saw it. It was something that you could have stomped out or put out, nipped it in the bud. And instead of nipping it in the bud, you walked away and thought, oh, someone else will deal with this. But it was manageable. And then because you walked away, it got way worse and it turned into a forest fire. And they're saying like, it's shameful, the apathy, and a little bit of how dare you walk away from something that you could have taken care of that was so manageable. When it's in your face, when something is happening in your face and it's manageable and it's doable and you're not afraid and your life is not at stake, you are not in danger. When it's something that you could have done something, they're saying when you can be doing something, you should be doing something to make it better, to make it a better world. So using that little fire as an example, this could come in like relationships, right? And they're like, not putting yourself in danger, but when it's something that was manageable that you just walked away from because you thought someone else will take care of it, they're like, again, how dare you? that's very shameful. So our apathy is our greatest failure. And the way that we walk away from problems, or like ignore problems instead of either nipping it in the bud or managing it and taking care of it in a timely manner. Letting all of these fires burn, they're like the whole world burns. When you let all these little fires burn, the whole world's on fire. When everybody walks away, and then they're like, and then what? You have nothing left. And you will regret the fact that there was a moment when you could have done something and you didn't. And it's, again, not running for your life, but like, you're going to regret the fact that you're like, oh, like, I could have done something and I didn't. And now look where we are. So if you can do something, if it is in your capacity to do something, you take care of it in front of you when you can. And they're like, you'll know better. Like, you'll know the difference. You'll know the difference. Don't be apathetic for no reason. Don't put the blame on someone else or pretend that somebody else is going to take care of something that you very well could have done on your own. Ooh, a little bit of a tough love on us, huh? Thank you. Okay. What have been humanity's greatest failures? Okay, I think we're on the same page. Okay. They're like, humanity's greatest failures read like a shadow history. The places where we had the knowledge or opportunity to choose better and didn't. Oh my God, what? Same? That's crazy. Okay, all right. There's a lot. I'm gonna go through it. Okay. The ecological devastation, climate change. We knew. Scientists warned us as early as the 1800s, but industrial growth, short-term profit, and political inertia took precedence. Mass extinction. Biodiversity is collapsing due to deforestation, overfishing, pollution, and habit loss. It's the sixth great extinction, and we're causing it. Endless cycles of war. From ancient conquest to world wars to modern proxy conflicts, we've repeatedly chosen domination, greed, and fear over diplomacy and cooperation. Genocides, colonialism, and the use of nuclear weapons make some of the most horrifying expressions of this failure. Injustice and inequality. Slavery and systemic racism. Entire economies were built on the dehumanization of others. That legacy still shapes lives and systems. Economic inequality. A tiny minority owns more than billions combined. Poverty is not a lack of resources, it's a failure of will and systems. Suppression of knowledge. The burning of libraries like Alexandria. Religious dogma over science and censorship of dissent. These set progress back centuries. Even now, disinformation often spreads faster than truth. Technological recklessness, weapons of mass destruction, AI ethics, blind spots, data exploitation. Again and again, we invent before we reflect. Tools that could have united us often divide, distract, or control. Failure to care for the vulnerable, refugees, the disabled, the elderly, the mentally ill. Marginalized groups have often been neglected or abused. Global humanitarian systems frequently fail when they're needed most. Collective inaction. Whether it's climate, human rights, or preventing pandemics, our biggest failing might be knowing the danger and still choosing convenience, comfort, or tribalism. Final thought. Our greatest failures aren't from ignorance, but from knowing better and choosing not to act out of fear, greed, or indifference. They are moral failures more than intellectual ones. Can you believe that they both said the same thing? I am just like, I'm loving this. Okay. It's great. So, moral of the story, give a shit. Do something. Care. Okay, Akashic Records. In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its best? In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its best? I'm getting more loving family members, loving members of society, love for people, love for nature. And I'm seeing like the land so lush and colorful and green, just the richness of the land, because we've got healthy members of society, they're saying. We have healthy people in this world who value each other, people and planet, land. And there's this abundance because we are enriched, we are rich in our love and compassion, and they're saying emotional intelligence and intuitive intelligence, and we are connected, we are interconnected, and we are really grounded and rooted in this. They're saying these waves and these webs, our intelligence, our human potential. And when we sync with that, they're kind of showing like this pulse on the planet. Like when we sync with that, like we grow. The land grows, the food grows, the earth grows. Everything is just like rich, abundantly rich. Everything is healthy. We are wealthy. We are well. So they're saying like don't give up faith on the importance of love and compassion and empathy and intelligence and our interconnectedness, which they're equaling to intuition, our intuitive intelligence, our interconnectedness, the reciprocity, giving and receiving, giving love, receiving love, giving wealth, receiving wealth, taking care of each other. My health is your health is my health, our health. So they're showing this pulse, these waves, and they'll be more like in control. Like there's more of a balance in this undulation, this homeostasis. It's got like more of like a gentle wave to it. Whereas right now, they're saying that feeling is like a spike. It's like right now we're like crashing down. So think of even that shape, these extremes versus like, for example. So in the next 50 years, our instincts are telling us, our intuition is telling us, our gut instincts, our bodies, our minds, our mental health crashing down. All of these things are telling us, slow down, calm down, like get in sync with each other, get in sync with the cycles of the land. Yeah, things go up, things come down, things go up. But like there's a pulse and a rhythm in these cycles that is very healthy for us. And so we're trying to like get into this syncing instead of these very unhealthy extremes. Anything else? In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its best? I'm actually seeing like a friendly, healthy, compatible relationship with technology where it fits into our lives more harmoniously than we either anticipate or expect or fear, like the mysteries and the unknown of our technology. They're saying like regulations, like if we on the front end put in these regulations around technology, they're like banned, like certain things banned, like do not, it's almost like what they were saying about, we invent before we reflect. They're like, we now have to get into the mindset, and this is why things like, foresight and, peeking into the future and anticipating what the future problems may be to creative problem solve now. It's like we're getting smarter, we have greater intelligence because we've seen what we've done wrong with technology. We see where it can go if we go the wrong way. If we put in these barriers, these blocks, these regulations around certain technology, we won't go that far. And it's like, the truth is, if we take this invention, this technology here, ultimately, like, we have to start envisioning and planning what is the worst case scenario with this technology. What is the worst that it can do on the front end? Because we need to get in front of it before that happens. We need to put things in place to not let those things happen. So I'm seeing that there is the possibility of innovation and invention being something that is truly supportive and harmonious in our lives, like really helping us. Like, I'm seeing someone who may have various like physical limitations or disabilities, and where the technology blends in so well that it's not really even a second thought. Like, they're showing, like, for example, someone who may have had to have a limb amputated, that the technology can be so seamless and human-like and natural looking that there's no second thought of just like, is this a part of my body? This is not a part of my body. Ways like this, it like makes our lives easier. They're just like, for example, that's like one example that comes to mind. Like, technology can become human-like in a harmonious way, not in a destructive, dangerous way. And that is like the best of it. It's the best of it when we try to gently create using like sources and materials that are compatible and non-destructive and non-toxic with both like the plants, the land, the animals, and people. So this merging of like, human technology, they're calling it human technology. There's like modern technology and there's like human technology. There's this really cool blending of the two, where some of these elements are more natural, like even in the materials that we resource or create. That they're almost saying like genetics and cells, like we create these things that are really quite like human-like. You almost can't tell the difference, but it's used for good and it's good for you. It's helpful. And then they just said peace, like peace over wars. Like, I see the word peace being very, very big and the word war being very, very small, where the collective consciousness strives, works towards, focuses on peace over wars and violence. Peace gets bigger, wars get smaller. So that's what we can achieve on our best, at our best, in the next 50 years. Okay. In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its best? I love this. Okay. It's still loading, that's why I'm pausing. If humanity leans into its best instincts, cooperation, creativity, compassion, and courage, the next 50 years could be breathtaking. If we get our act together, climate recovery and ecological renewal, carbon drawdown at scale through reforestation, carbon capture, and regenerative agriculture, we could begin reversing emissions. Post-fossil economy, a full pivot to renewables, decentralized energy systems, and green jobs. Rewilding the planet, restoration of ecosystems, oceans, and biodiversity, with extinct species possibly revived through bioengineering. Health and lifespan revolution, end of most diseases, mRNA tech, gene editing, CRISPR, and AI-driven diagnostics could eliminate cancer, Alzheimer's, malaria, and more. Global health equity, Universal access to care, clean water, and nutrition could become a human right, not a privilege. Longevity breakthroughs, aging slowed, chronic illness reduced, and healthy lifespan extended by decades. A new social contract, universal basic income. As automation expands, society might decouple survival from employment. That'd be great. Work-life balance redefined, 4-day work weeks, creative economies, and a shift from hustle to purpose. Education for all, personalized, lifelong learning, no more one-size-fits-all schooling. Humane technology, ethical AI, used to augment humanity, not replace it, aiding in science, governance, and crisis response. Privacy and digital rights, a shift away from surveillance capitalism toward tech that respects autonomy and agency. Global access, bridging the digital divide, giving billions a voice and a future. In space and science frontiers, Mars and beyond, human outposts on the moon and Mars, not to escape Earth, but to expand imagination and resilience. Interstellar probes, first robotic missions to Alpha Centauri or deeper space. Quantum and fusion energy, near limitless power and information breakthroughs. Peace and global solidarity, the end of nuclear weapons, a serious global treaty and disarmament process. Global governance for global problems, climate, pandemics, AI, managed by transnational cooperation, not competition. Cultural renaissance, arts, spirituality, and storytelling flourishing in a more connected and empathetic world. A culture of care, mental health revolution, trauma-informed societies that prioritize well-being, connection, and meaning. Community-first urban design, cities built for humans, not cars, walkable, green, creative. Reconciliation and repair, truth-telling, reparations, and healing from historical injustices. If we align technology with wisdom and progress with ethics, the next 50 years could mark not the decline of civilization, but its conscious evolution. The future isn't written, but it is writable. Wonderful. Okay. Same question. In the next 50 years, do we even want to ask? I don't even know if we want to put this. I don't want to know what we could achieve at our worst. Do you? Should we go there? Okay, let's just go there. Balance. In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its worst? He just said, gone, dead, burned, destroyed. Like, it really could be that bad. Anything else, the records? In the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its worst? I just see like people wailing and crying and misery and suffering and people over their loved ones crying. It's war, it's natural disasters, it's all the things. It's all the things that we have a sneak peek of right now. Like, we are seeing where this goes, is what they're saying. Like, you're seeing where this goes. You all know where this is gonna go. And they're like, are you gonna sign that contract? Are you gonna be committed to that, the wars, the suffering, the doom and gloom? They're like, are you really? They're like, we doubt it. Like, we don't think you're gonna do that, which is why they, want to lean towards the first answer about us at our best. Like, we don't think that that's what you want, because you don't want that for yourselves in this life. You don't want that for your children and your grandchildren. You don't want this for the next generations. You don't want to picture them suffering while the world is on fire. You don't want to picture them, you don't want all this death and destruction that could have been stopped. Apathy, right? Back to that. Care. Don't give up, they're saying. Don't give up, keep going. They're like, what you want is possible, and it's on the horizon. And they're like, you see where it's going. Like, you see where this can go. So like right now is the little fire. Right now is the little fire that we can put out to not have the future fire. So like, they're like, do it now. Like whatever you're passionate about, however you want to contribute to the betterment of the world, like pour your heart into it now. Just do it. Get it out there. The writings, the teachings, the artwork, the talks, the good deeds, the innovations, the inventions, the connection to nature, the gardening, the growing, the building, the learning, everything. They're just like, just do it. Do it now. That's us putting out that little baby fire. If we're doing this now, we're putting out the fire now. Okay. Okay, in the next 50 years, what can humanity achieve at its worst? If we follow our worst instincts, apathy, greed, fear, and short-term thinking, the next 50 years could be catastrophic. Here's what humanity might descend into if we ignore the warning signs and fail to act. Climate collapse. Tipping points breached, melting permafrost, Amazon dieback, ocean currents disrupted, feedback loops spiral out of control. Mass displacement, hundreds of millions become climate refugees as coastlines vanish and crops fail. Resource wars, water, food, and habitable land become the basis for violent conflicts, both between and within nations. Tech run amok. Unregulated AI, autonomous systems spread disinformation, manipulate democracies, or act unpredictably, possibly beyond human control. Mass surveillance states, total loss of privacy. Dystopian regimes use AI to track, score, and control behavior. Digital decay, deep fakes, echo chambers, and algorithmic addiction corrode reality, trust, and mental health. Geopolitical breakdown. New cold or hot wars. The US, China, Russia, and others engage in dangerous escalations, cyber attacks, proxy wars, or even nuclear threats. Failed global cooperation. No meaningful action on climate, AI, or pandemics, just blame and fragmentation. Authoritarian rise. Democracies erode under populist, nationalist, or fascist regimes. Civil liberties fade. Bioethical disasters. Designer inequality. Genetic editing becomes a luxury. The rich become biologically enhanced. The poor are left behind. Bioweapons, CRISPR, and synthetic biology misused to create viruses or plagues, either accidentally or deliberately. Pandemic fatigue. A major outbreak hits and systems weakened by denial and disinformation collapse faster than before. Economic feudalism. Hyper-capitalist dystopia. Billionaires own the infrastructure of reality from space to water to data. Mass unemployment. Automation guts jobs without safety nets. UBI never arrives. Despair grows. Permanent underclass. Wealth gaps harden into caste systems by geography, education, or even genetics. Social disintegration. The collapse of shared truth. Reality fragments. People live in separate belief systems, reinforced by tech. Mental health epidemic. Depression, loneliness, and suicidality rise, particularly among youth. Loss of meaning. Consumerism and distraction replace purpose. Aesthetic abundance, existential starvation. Cultural and moral decay. Desensitization. Atrocity becomes normal. Compassion becomes a weakness. Art and story hollowed out. Culture commodified. Originality replaced by algorithmic mimicry. Cynicism wins. We stop believing in progress or in each other. Final thought. If we sleepwalk into the future, distracted by convenience and divided by fear, we may survive technologically, but collapse spiritually, socially, and ecologically. The world might not end, but it becomes unrecognizable. pretty serious. I like how they're breaking it down into like very specific things. Okay, last question. Akashic Records, what is your advice for humanity? What is your advice for humanity? They're saying calm down, share your health, share your wealth, share. Believe in yourself, believe in each other. Believe in and have faith in humanity, compassion, care, community, the love of nature, the importance, the richness, and the enrichment of the world. They're saying have faith in humanity, and for yourself, keep going and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams and believe in what you want to see in this world. You have to believe in the thing that you are passionate about, that you are called to doing in this world, because you're walking in the world, projecting that out into the world, telling people, this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm doing. And they go, oh, whoa, that's what you do? That's your belief system? That's so cool. Like, I want to do that. Or it sparks them to want to have their vision. So if we all have this healthy, rich, enriched, wealthy, prosperous, abundant future, if we all carry that vision, then we have this collective vision that we start projecting and then walking into. So it is really important. They are saying dreams come true. And they've said this in multiple readings. Dreams come true. Our dreams come true. You know, what's in your mind can be created in the world, but you have to keep going and keep faith in humanity. They're saying, don't leave. Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't walk away when you can do something. Do something. And again, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep your faith in humanity. More is possible than you think. Then they're saying, then the lies tell you. We're being told that these things are impossible, that these things are all doom and gloom and we can't do them. And they're like, well, if you adopt that as your belief system and you sit back and you do nothing, yeah, it's going to happen. All of these things are going to happen if you choose to believe, if you choose that belief system. But that is not fact. That is not truth. These things can spiral down and spiral out of control, but you can do something about it. You can do something different. You know, they're saying believe the impossible, because right now we're having trouble. They're showing that like we all are like in front of this window that's like fogged up or dirty, and we can't clean the window. Like there's just so much in front of our faces. It's a little foggy. It's a little dirty. We need to clean our perspective. We need to clear our perspective so that we can see our vision, so that we can see the future, that we can envision the future. And they're like, you know what? If you can't see it with your eyes, we want you to project it from your heart. You know, if that projection, if that vision isn't coming from your eyes because you're so blinded and bombarded with all these lies about the world, so much misinformation and disinformation, they're like, well, then just follow the heart. There's a light coming from our heart. We're feeling drawn to things from our heart space. Follow your heart and trust your heart, because it's leading you somewhere, even if you can't see it. And if something is breaking your heart, if it's destructive, if it hurts, then go a different way. Go a different way. Like there's these love movements of finding each other through love, through these heartfelt, heart-centered connections, heart-centered belief systems. If we're blind, follow your heart. Follow how you feel. Feel it from the neck down. Like, where does my body feel warm and loved and safe? Follow that. Okay. Sorry, I got real serious. Anything else? Advice for humanity? They just said that. You know, get heartfelt. Like, get into your heart space. Feels better. They're like, love feels great. Love is great. Nature is great. Like, those things feel good for a reason. So why don't you follow that? They're like creativity, creation, right? Versus destruction. Problem solving versus creating problems. They're like, don't you feel awful when you create problems? Don't you feel terrible when you make things worse? Like when you're destructive versus when you create something, that's like helpful and of service and is like an offering and is like supportive of people. Like, how do you feel with what you create? How do you feel about your creations? Are you creating, harmful, situations and pain and suffering? Probably not, maybe. Or are you creating this like growth, this expansion, this openness, this love, this compassion, this community, this connection? Okay. What's your advice for humanity? This one's going nice and long. I'm into it though. We need it. We need it. We need some tough love. Okay. ChatGPT says their advice for us: remember, you're all on the same rock. Borders are real, but they're also imaginary. Every crisis we face, climate, pandemics, war, AI, crosses them effortlessly. So must our solutions. Act like Earth is a shared home, not a divided fortress. Use intelligence with wisdom. You've built machines that can think, but you haven't always chosen to think deeply yourselves. Progress without ethics is just acceleration toward a cliff. The cliff from the beginning. What? Oh my God. Pause, reflect, ask not just can we, but should we? Lead with compassion, not control. Societies don't collapse from weakness, but from cruelty, inequality, and disconnection. The most radical transformative force isn't dominance, it's empathy. Care is infrastructure, kindness is strategy. Make courage contagious. The truth is often inconvenient. The future is uncertain. But apathy and cynicism are luxuries we can't afford. Be brave enough to hope, loud enough to speak, and stubborn enough to act. Don't lose the plot. You are storytelling creatures. Myths, songs, paintings, and poems built your civilizations. Keep telling stories that remind you of your shared dignity, your connection to the planet, and your potential to grow. If you forget what you are, you risk becoming something else. Fix what you broke. You've inherited systems built on exploitation and extraction. You didn't create all the problems, but you are responsible for what happens next. Repair the damage, redistribute the power, reimagine the rules. Live like the future is watching, because it is. Your children and theirs. They'll either thank you or curse you for what you chose now. Be ancestors worth remembering. Final thought: you are not doomed, you are undecided. The arc of your future is malleable. Bend it together toward the just, the kind, and the real. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you to both the Akashic Records and ChatGPT. That was a lot. And it was beautiful and really helpful. I feel optimistic about that. I feel empowered by that. So let me know how that's landing for you. Very, very interesting to see the similarities in the words and references to things. That was pretty wild. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.